Wild Bill for America. How about Wild Bill for Canada? But right now it's Wild Brian for Canada. I kind of need a Wild Bill to help me out.
Oh, I would love to come up to Canada and help. You know what I'd like to see? I think we should have a Canadian Tea Party, the Canada Tea Party. Now that would get some attention, because you know, the more you and I speak out loud and clear, the more people in Canada will find their voices and their courage to speak out as well. And I'm thinking that a Canadian Tea Party would be a connection where those of us in the USA can join forces with our brothers and sisters up in Canada to take the fight to the enemies of freedom. And Lord knows you guys have enough enemies of freedom up there to keep us busy for a couple of years at least.
No kidding. I got to tell you, the Canadian political system is so mixed up and the political lines are blurred. It is a semi-mess. At least in the U.S. you have the Constitution. You know what? Not many politicians of yours even read it anymore, let alone try to make it stand up, I don't think. But it's there. And when you get so far left, you bump into it. In Canada, we don't have that up here. You keep going left and you just about fall over. And then somebody does pull you back. Some politician will come out of the ether and say, hey, we need you guys to make money to support us. So, you know, we don't have that advantage of the Constitution. But the people, for the most part, are the same. Our press is the same. Our press is the same as yours. They tell us what we think. They tell us how we're going to vote. They do all of those things. They're trying to capture our brain. But you know what? It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely. As America's leading liberalologist, I can tell you in no uncertain terms that the ultimate goal of liberalism is the total domination of the citizens. If you let these guys keep going, they are going to eventually tell you where you're allowed to live, what you're allowed to drive, what you're allowed to teach your children, what you can and cannot eat. Start a business, they're going to tell you who you have to hire and who you cannot fire. Politicians without a constitution are a dangerous bunch. Perhaps a Canadian Tea Party chapter would be what's needed to develop a piece of paper that the Canadian people could sign on to and make the politicians up there do the right thing. It definitely sounds like they need some kind of an anchor.
Oh, do they ever? Tell us a little bit about the Tea Party. What is it? And we all kind of have a sense of it, I get it, but tell us in terms of the vehicle that it is. How many members do you have? How did it start? You're one of the founders, I understand, and you speak, and I know you do a lot of things for them now. What's the advantage of having a Tea Party when you already have a Republican Party? Is it not an extension of the Republican Party?
Because the Republican parties are corrupt up to their eyeballs. We have assumed for many years that the Republicans had been looking out for us. Yeah. But you know what? They have moved left, excuse me, almost as much as the Democrats have. Yeah. The Democrats, they are unsalvageable. That is a political party that just needs to be taken out in the Gulf of Mexico and sunk. But many in the Republican side, they are still trying to hold true to faith and freedom that founded America. Well, the Tea Party is basically a group of Americans who believe the government should obey the law. And yes, it's just as simple as that. There are a lot of people on the left that like to paint us as well, a bunch of racists for one thing, which is a bunch of malarkey. The most popular speakers in the Tea Party are black. And they also paint us as a bunch of angry people, and that's just not true either. We are the most fun-loving bunch you can imagine, but we are people who have a mission to bring our government back into doing the right thing. And our primary way of doing that is to speak out loud and clear, and as more people hear the Tea Party message, they're waking up and saying, yes, that's what I want for my family. So the Tea Party's growing in leaps and bounds. I estimate that we have about 40 million people now, and probably 100 million out there who are Tea Party, but they just don't know it yet.
That's a lot of people, 40 million. Wow. Will you ever be a political party, or the role here is to keep the political parties in check and to do report cards on them? Is that the role?
Well, we're not really an organization. The Tea Party is millions of Americans who just simply have a group in their county or their city. And we basically just are Americans who are, while unofficially unaffiliated, we all just kind of stand for the right things, which is how our countries were started up in the first place.
Now, in terms of Canada, to get this off the ground, what would be needed? You'd roll into town and join up with me, and we'd go out and tell the world to come and join us and blah, 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 blah. I mean, is it as simple as that? And then when you get a big crowd, and by the way, I don't know that that's hard to do. We have a huge following here on this show. I mean, people do think, right. I mean, there is some good sense left out there. We just need to kind of bring them all together, is what you're saying. I mean, how big of a task is that? And when you get it kind of going, what then? Do you appoint people to go to Congress, in this case, to go to Parliament, and influence, encourage? What's the routine?
I would say pick a venue, start promoting it, and we'll bring together a bunch of speakers, hopefully have some good bands, that make it an entertaining thing. We need to develop media attention, good and bad. Don't worry about people that will denigrate us. Yeah. And then basically we just need to get people together for that very first Canada Tea Party event, fire them up, and then send them out to establish Tea Party chapters in their hometowns.
You know what?
Their areas.
I'm going to take you up on this. We're going to do this off the air. You and I are going to chat, and I think it needs to be done for the sake of the country, God and country. Like, let's kind of cha-cha, get the show on the road. In terms of bad press, liberals do that all of the time. Your show, my show, we get all kinds of people. I mean, I often think they should just switch channels, but the liberal, that's their mentality. They need to call us names. That's what they do. And they do it well, and they try to influence. And unfortunately, today, it doesn't have the same influence, but they still do that. So just referring to your point there where you said we'd get all kinds of bad press. Of course we would. Mainstream press is liberal. There's not many guys like you and me out there, is there?
There's probably more than what we realize. The main weapon of liberalism is shutting people up. Yeah. They don't let us talk, and they intimidate people, especially, the kids in the college camps and so on. They're not allowed to tell their views on right and wrong. So this is one thing that a Tea Party will help, is to break open honest dialogue. We need some honest dialogue. And like I say, the more people hear us speaking out loud and clear about God and country, faith and freedom, the more they will find their courage. And that is the liberals' #1 nightmare, is that America will once again declare herself to be one nation under God and start acting like it again. And the way we're going to trigger that is the new media. That's you and me, buddy. We are carrying the torch. So,
I like it. Wild Bill for Canada. That's kind of cute, too. It's kind of a neat little ring to it. So we're looking forward to talking to you. You and I are going to set something up. There's all kinds of guys up here in Canada that would work with us. I mean, we got guys to the CSSA, the shooting place, and on goes a long list of people who are in favor of freedom in the jaw. So you know what? Looking forward to it, Bill. Talk to you again soon. Get your mucklucks out, okay? Because this ain't Florida, by the way.
I need a little frost. I'm tired of sweating. Let's get her done.
Thanks a lot. See ya.